Karen. Yes, I am fully aware of writer George Monbiot, his criticisms on Canada and political corruption. I'm not an expert or admit to understand fully the complexities of energy policy or investment policies, and I have not received a penny in energy funding or investment into my artwork, which is eco-artwork based, from any of these people whatsoever. I have received media attention on an international level, but not one red cent has went into my pocket. They, being the Canadian government, gets the investment as security, as there is greater promise on return and what reforms exist. Oil projects gets huge subsidies. With investment, extracting oil from sand is a toxic and very expensive process with billions invested from Europe and China. Canada, the oil sector, and Alberta signed on to something in the Middle East, unable to locate any details now, but Canada is not the final frontier as the last reserve in peak oil. In fact, it is the opposite. The Middle East is expanding oil investment and production. However, countries like the UAE, the obvious face of oil, the Seven Emirates, have only 9% of the world's oil. TAQA, Abu Dhabi's energy resources, is across the global energy sector, including Canada and India, renewable energy as part of investment strategy. So what does this mean? TAQA also has interests in nuclear power generation, clean energy. Half of their company is water and electricity. $23.4 billion in assets, revenues US $4.5 billion annually. The large oil reserves in Saudi Arabia and the rest of the world, UAE, has high stakes in global energy markets, with little debt except for Dubai borrowing off their investments. But Abu Dhabi, including Green Technologies, the location of the Masdar Corporation, and look at the WFES, its strength in where all the big energy players meet annually. Iraq, of course, where the U.S. have military occupation, Afghanistan. Then there's the opium trade, and that's another story. But there was a rumor oil was found in Sudan, Africa, and there may be another war, but that is speculation. So is the British banking system becoming a money filtering or laundering for major oil investment? And then rumor has been for terrorists, laundering terrorists' money. It's hard to know. With other countries as Canada, I'm wondering what the House of Lords may think of this one. This is one of the dirtiest deals on the planet, or is it? Fort McMurray is where all the good high-paying jobs are, and increasing productivity are. Without oil at this time, Canada would not have an economy. Prime Minister Stephen Harper is doing the job that people are paying him to. Aside from the criticisms, economics is more important on his agenda than the environment. So it seems to make the economy more of a priority, and the globalists are also putting pressure on, and this is more about sign on or be shut out. Energy, greed, big companies, oil with investment, British Petroleum, Shell, Total, and Eni, and Chinese investment. Then there's the G8 summit, and Canada will have the largest, the second largest oil reserve in it. But it is getting more frightening for the average citizen, or is it? NAFTA in American free trade politics and more Canadian citizens are losing their sovereignty, there's some sort of parallel going on here with the big global world trading companies, and all of them are calling the shots in the evolving energy and environmental crisis that was created. I do not understand the relationship of fascism and global corporate mergings or energy investments. This is way beyond my level of understanding, but it makes one wonder why the UAE government wanted to expand its plane service into Canada. Billions in revenue and more than any people care to know. So the UAE invested into Canada as far as oil is concerned, the oil sands, so there was some kind of deal made, but when, it's difficult to find. And the UAE also partnered with the Saudi prince, who has investment companies in the US. They're great friends on investments into their planes. But then there's the kicking out of Canada out of the UAE military base in November, which is newsworthy. But Canada is losing its reputation on international negotiations and foreign affairs. Canada is being made to be the bad guy. UAE wants to start having payback on their investment into Canada. It's that obvious. The Canadian government has built an excellent relationship with Qatar, another oil-rich nation, Doha, just right above the UAE, sitting on huge gas reserves. Where did the plane contract go? Air Canada and oil production, Doha, Qatar, and neighboring countries will get inexpensive oil. Good to learn about the tar sands in Canada further and investment back into Canada, while the rest of us are focused on trying our best to come up with healthier alternatives, save our sovereignty and the planet, the safety and security of our families here and all over the world.